January 23rd, 2023 regular Wasilla City Council meeting is called to order. The time is 6 p.m. Before we begin, council, please put away cell phones. If you have personal business to attend to during the meeting, please move for a recess. If you are participating telephonically, please mute your phone unless speaking. Also, when speaking, please state your name for those streaming the meeting. As a reminder to all attendees, this meeting is being streamed live. The camera is located directly in the back of the council chambers above the clock. Madam Deputy Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councilmember Sullivan-Leonard.
Here.
Councilmember Graham.
Here.
Councilmember Johnson.
Here.
Councilmember Brown.
Here.
Councilmember Vlock.
Here.
Councilmember Rubio.
Here.
There is a quorum, Madam Mayor, with Councilmembers Sullivan-Leonard, Graham, Vlock, and Rubio participating in person, and Councilmembers Brown and Johnson participating telephonically.
Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and Colleen, would you lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Approval of the agenda. The first item of business is approval of the agenda. Are there changes to the agenda?
Madam Mayor.
Mr. Graham.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to move item 8.3.2, resolution serial 2303 to new business.
$2303. Okay.
And Madam Mayor, 2302, resolution 2302, which is 8.3.1.
Is there any other changes? Hearing none, is there objection to the motion? The agenda is approved as amended. And the special orders of the day, the dispatcher is on the desk, so she cannot be here tonight. Also, under the commission and agencies reports, I would like to move Wasilla High School report up to the very first one. Okay? So, Wasilla High School. The student representative, please state your name for us.
Hi, my name is Glenda D. Good evening, City Council. We have a lot to celebrate at Warrior Nation. Our students continue to impress and are doing great things. We had 2 state championships in wrestling at the All-South State Championships in December. Deshaun Campbell and Elijah Allen. This is Deshaun's 2nd state championship this year. He was the diving state champion in early November. Warrior Hockey is rounding out their season. State championships will be held at the Menard Center early in February. Girls and boys basketball are in full swing. The girls are 3-0 and the boys are 4-1. WHS students continue to lead the district in academics as well as overall discipline. First semester data between all schools shows Wasilla High School had only 6% of students fail a class. This is well below the district average of 9% and second of all high schools in the MSBSD. Additionally, WHS had only 1% for discipline. What does this mean? WHS had the lowest amount of discipline for semester 1 in the entire MSBSD. This is a testament to the positive culture and climate that we are going to have here at Warrior Nation. Finally, Warrior Nation would like to thank Mayor Ledford and the City Council members for your continued service to the community.
Thank you. And good job over at Wasilla High School. And now we will have the Airport Advisory Commission report from Public Works Director Shaw.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So just a quick update on our meeting. Last Thursday, we met and welcomed Aaron McCarty to the Airport Commission. We heard a update from HDL on the airport master planning process. We will be including their slide deck in the next meeting packet so that we have record of that. But it was an informative explanation of the process that they've started and kind of where we're going. An update on that process. We're working through the reporting that the FAA wants to see, and we're also going to have some geotechnical investigations take place on the next apron expansion. So our staff is preparing some tree cutting areas so that they can get a soil sampling drill rig out there. We've been using some older soils data, and we just want to make sure that this next apron design is proper for the geotechnical layout out there. We also discussed the idea of increasing rates out at the airport, and so I included more information for the commissioners to evaluate for the rate structure as it stands right now. A couple initial proposals for increases to show what that would do for revenue. That was included in the packet if you have a copy of that. And we heard from a few more constituents on activities out at the airport, addressing snow removal. Got some good feedback on the successful operations during the storms. And it was a very successful and collaborative meeting. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay, any questions? Hearing none, Recreational Service Director Bell, please give us an update on the Parks and Recreation Commission.
Scott Bell, Recreational Services Director. We had our Park and Recreation Commission meeting on January 11th. At that time, we had our reappointed Mary Champagne for, I think, her 10th or 20th. She's been on there for, I think, 17, 18 years. And we did fill our non-city seat with Leonard Jones, so he has been appointed to the commission. We still have one seat that is vacant, seat D, which would be a city resident. Wanted to thank and acknowledge Madam Mayor, Director Shaw, and Park Supervisor, yes. Jesse Griffith were in attendance, made themselves available so that the commission could talk directly to all the departments, and I think it was a very positive step so we can kind of get some more action going with the committee and kind of really have a focus going forward. So we appreciate that. Reported on what we think was a fantastic New Year's Eve fireworks show. Great turnout actually in the park this time, despite the wind. We are currently, let's see, Facebook, we have 2,983 followers. And we did have a public speak from the Matsu Softball Association on the expansion of Bumpus Park, or Bumpus Field with 2 more ball fields. So they just kind of gave us an update of where they're at, and they are trying to still move forward with that. A couple of projects, we're working on our Parks Passport to kind of expand that a little bit, and using kind of the foundation of that to also kind of educate people on the history of the parks, the kind of the origin of their names, things like that, and then also what is actually, the trees, the shrubs, and different features of each park. So we're going to be kind of addressing that as we go forward. And additionally, let's see, we will now, our next meeting is March 8th, and that will be actually here in council chambers now. We previously had held these in the Menard Sports Center, but we will be bringing them here. So anybody who wishes to attend, March 9th. Or 8th, sorry.
Thank you. Planning Commission, Deputy Administrator.
Mayor, may
Oh,
I?
I'm sorry.
That's all right. May I ask a question of
Sure.
Mr. Bell? The fireworks show this year was rather spectacular because it's my understanding we kind of rolled 4th of July fireworks, which we didn't have, into this one, so we kind of had enough fireworks for 2 shows to go forward at the same time. So did the Planning Commission or did the Parks and Rec Commission talk about trying to, gradually increase the size of the show over the years? In the past, we've kind of held it at a certain dollar amount. Was there any consideration, any discussion of perhaps trying to move that up a little bit every year? I heard lots of great reviews about this year's show.
Yeah, with, as everyone knows, 4th of July, all the fire hazard issues, and I think lots of conversation about having a fireworks show when it's light out. So one, because that show got canceled, we did consolidate the money paid for that show. All the fireworks did carry over. Then the New Year's fireworks show, we reduced the budget a little bit, but then again, Guerrilla Fireworks, I believe donated $7,500 worth of fireworks also. So on top of that, so we had, I think, like I said, a pretty spectacular show. So going forward, the idea is that we will not be doing the 4th of July fireworks show, so that we can kind of up the New Year's Eve fireworks show from what we've done in the past. Will we be able to do the match this year? That might be a little challenging with budget, mostly because fireworks are up about 100%, and we just seem to be chasing getting a great show at a good price. So we're kind of there right now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay, now we are on to Planning Commission. Deputy Administrator Nygaard, please give us an update on the Planning Commission.
Thank you, Mayor. We met last Tuesday, and there were 2 permits approved. One was a medical office building that is going to be in the downtown overlay, and the second was our first short-term rental located over on Wasilla Lake. They also did elections, so David Seals is the chairman and Mr. Bernie is the vice chair. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions? Hearing none.
Madam Mayor.
Oh, Mr. Graham,
Imagine that.
I know.
You mentioned the first short-term rental. Is that the first one that you've approved or the first one in the city? I know there are many people advertising short-term rentals in the city.
This is the first one approved by the city. There was another applicant, but they were not able to attend the meeting. And that's the only one so far that's been through the process. The planning did remind me, though, this is some of the first applications going through the process since the legislation was approved. So we are taking all the input seriously.
And is planning looking at perhaps combing advertisements for short-term rentals within the city to bring people into compliance so we don't go against our own ordinance here?
Not that I'm aware of, but I do know that on the finance side, in order to get a business license, there are some checks and balances that go on there.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Seeing none, we are on to public participation. We have 4 ordinances up for public hearing and 2 have accompanying action memorandums. Madam Deputy Clerk, please read the title of the first ordinance.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Ordinance serial number 23-01. Amending the fiscal year 2023 budget by appropriating $75,000 from the Water Fund balance for a flow analysis and well exploration in Pressure Zone 4.
Okay. The public hearing on ordinance serial number 23-01 is open. Anyone who would like to testify, please come forward and begin by stating your first and last name. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. Seeing no one, the public hearing is closed. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance serial number 2301?
Madam Mayor?
So moved by Councilman Johnson.
Okay, second by Sullivan-Leonard.
Is that John?
Johnson.
Is that Johnson? Okay, it has been moved by Councilmember Johnson and seconded by Councilmember Sullivan-Leonard to adopt ordinance serial number 23-01. Is there discussion?
Madam Mayor.
Mr. Graham?
Thank you. If I could get Public Works Director to perhaps comment on this Zone 4, which is where, of course, shops at Sun Mountain are, potential hotel going in there. Is this going to be sufficient to handle that type of growth, which is all pretty much high water users, or are we going to need to do something beyond this in the short term?
Yeah, thank you. Through the mayor. This is the first step in guiding us with the proper decision-making to meet those anticipated needs. So is this going to solve the problem? I can't say yes at this point, but what it's going to allow us to do, if this passes and gives us the funding we need to get started, it's going to allow us to bring more consulting support in so that we can right-size future facilities to meet those needs. We have several options, and we want to be wise about what the plan is that we bring back to the council at a future date, but we do not want to miss any time to prepare for those proposed developments that we were hearing a lot about, because as you stated, very high water use anticipated, and it's a problematic zone to supply water to because it's one of our highest areas. So we want to make sure that we don't go down the wrong path or miss an opportunity to correctly size the area. We'll also mention that this, not only is it in development involved, that DOT is working on the Herman Road extension project, which is right there at Zone 4, which we need to be wise about considering future expansion so that if the city should ever grow, we've planned for that as well. So there's a lot going in Zone 4, and this will allow us to bring in the expertise that we need to make good decisions and bring those projects before you.
An unrelated question, you mentioned Herman Road. Is the city putting water and sewer in as part of that development project, as the road underlayment or whatever is developed?
Yes, correct. Through the mayor, the goal is to anticipate doing that. I personally feel it's a wise decision based on where it's located within the city, future growth. That is an opportunity not to be missed. And so we want to make sure that we have a good, solid plan with a cost forecast to bring back to the council to make sure it's something we can afford and lines up well with our perceived growth over in that area.
I'm glad to hear that. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Is there further discussion?
Madam Mayor, this is Councilman Johnson.
Yes, Mr. Johnson.
Yes, I just want to follow up with Mr. Graham, and I want to make sure that we actually put solution to the pipeline here.
Mr. Johnson, you're fading in and out.
One business area that water pressure is a real problem in that area, and I hopefully don't have to revisit this issue.
Okay, do you have anything further? Mr. Johnson?
No, nothing further.
Okay. Is there further discussion? Hearing none. Madam Deputy Clerk, please take a roll call vote on the adoption of ordinance serial number 23-01.
Councilmember Johnson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilmember Graham?
Yes.
Councilmember Sullivan-Leonard?
Yes.
Councilmember Brown?
Yes.
Councilmember Velock?
Yes.
Councilmember Rubio?
Yes.
Madam Mayor, the motion passes unanimously with Councilmembers Sullivan-Leonard, Graham, Johnson, Brown, Velock, and Rubio in support.
Madam Deputy Clerk, please read the title of the next ordinance.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. That's ordinance serial number 23-02, amending the fiscal year 2023 budget by appropriating $565,000 from the Water Fund balance for repairs to the Spruce and East Susitna water towers resulting from the January 2022 windstorm.
The public hearing on ordinance serial number 23-02 is open. Anyone who would like to testify, please come forward and begin by stating your first and last name. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. Seeing no one, the public hearing is closed. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance serial number 23-02?
I move ordinance serial number 23-02, please.
Is there a second?
I second that.
It's been moved by Councilmember Sullivan-Leonard and seconded by Councilmember Velock to adopt ordinance serial number 23-02. Is there discussion?
Madam Mayor?
Madam Mayor?
Colleen's first.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Question for Joan. She and I had exchanged correspondence today with regard to the funding aspect of this ordinance relating to, of course, our windstorms and everything else. I'm looking to see, and I know you said you would provide it at the next meeting, which I appreciate, but I'm looking to see kind of what the balance is for the water fund balance, what you anticipate for reimbursement from insurance, and kind of what our balance may be after that.
To Councilmember Sullivan-Leonard through the mayor. So so our last formal review was at fiscal year 2022 was 8.6 million in fund balance for the water fund. You guys have seen a lot of water projects come forth. Some of those, we have the Richmond Hills Booster Station, which was funded through ARPA monies. We also have had, just even in tonight's meeting, $688,000 worth of what I consider, seeking reimbursement through insurance for the windstorm. And just sort of as an informational, note is that we have even currently received $327,000 from insurance proceeds from the windstorm. A lot of this stuff is not eligible yet for reimbursement because the work hasn't been performed. So I would anticipate, so I spoke with my colleague, Public Works Director Eric Shaw, and what we thought a good approach to this, because we are seeing numerous projects come up, is to provide at the next meeting an IM with sort of an overview from Public Works as to what we're forecasting for the large scale addressing maintenance and infrastructure needs, along with a detail of the fund balance and what portion of these projects we're anticipating reimbursement.
Thank you, that's perfect. I appreciate that. Part of my interest was just trying to see how low the water fund was getting to be and what we would be anticipating then on the side of the consumer. Would they then be looking at increase in rates to kind of backfill our water fund as it's getting too low? So, as we look at reimbursements from ARPA and then the insurance, those are all things all in the formula of what we're looking at. So just wanted to make sure we had that in place. Thank you.
Is there further, Mr. Johnson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Within this funding split, there is a total of $5,000 for a contracting consulting fee. Could Director of Public Works explain why we do the repair design myself?
Mr. Johnson, you are breaking up. You're going in and out, so please restate what you just said. Are you on speaker on your phone?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Let's try this.
Okay, let's try this now.
Within this fund, there is $65,000 for consulting. Could I be able to why we couldn't do the design repair ourselves and for contract out?
Madam Mayor? So Mr. Johnson, are you asking if the city could do the design and consulting in-house as opposed to paying $55,000 to a consultant? Was that your question?
Yes, that's my question.
Eric?
Through the mayor, the reference $55,000 in support is not just design. It's design, contract administration, and inspection. And if we discuss about capacities to design within house, I and my deputy do not have the capacity to do that at this point. We are finding many things to keep us busy, and so the consultant is the effective choice for this project.
Okay, Mr. Johnson, anything further?
Nothing further, thank you.
Okay, is there any more discussion? Hearing none, Madam Deputy Clerk, please take a roll call vote on the adoption of ordinance serial number 23-02.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councilmember Rubio, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilmember Velock?
Yes.
Councilmember Graham?
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Sullivan-Leonard?
Yes.
Councilmember Brown?
Yes.
Madam Mayor, that motion passes unanimously with Sullivan-Leonard, Graham, Johnson, Brown, Velock, and Rubio in support.
Okay, ordinance 23 and 03 and 04 have been moved to new business.
No, those are.
Oh, are they? Okay. Madam Deputy Clerk, please read the title of the next ordinance and action memorandum.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Ordinance serial number 23-03, amending the fiscal year 2023 budget by appropriating $335,000 from the water fund balance for connecting the new 8-inch backup well to Spruce Avenue water system. We also have AM number 23-04, contract award to Sturgeon Electric in the amount of $164,422 for Spruce Avenue wellhouse standby well upgrades.
Thank you. The public hearing on ordinance serial number 23-03 is open. Anyone would like to testify, please come forward and begin by stating your first and last name. Seeing no one, the public hearing is closed. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance serial number 23-03 and approve AM number 23-04?
Madam Mayor, I move ordinance serial number 23-03 and the associated AM 2304.
Is there a second?
Rubio seconds.
It has been moved by Councilmember Graham and seconded by Councilmember Rubio to adopt ordinance serial number 23-03 and AM number 23-04. Is there discussion?
Madam Mayor.
Mr. Graham?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Number one, this is a project that most certainly needs to be done. I just have some questions. Number one, in the 2302 that we looked at, it talked about doing things in accordance with WMC 5.08. And on this one here, it says the city will approve construction contract with the approved low bidder. Do we have two different processes here, or are we just not using the same language to describe the same process?
Through the mayor, different language to describe the same process.
Okay, thank you. And then the second question would have to do with the existing 6-inch well. So at the completion of this project, we would have flow from the 6-inch well, the 8-inch well, and the 14-inch well. Is that correct? Because currently we have a 6-inch and a 14-inch.
Through the mayor, that's my understanding. I'll be upfront, this project predates me. The well has been in existence since the beginning of the year. I believe actually that the 8-inch will replace the 6-inch. 6-inch is a legacy well. There were concerns about its flow capabilities. Screens plug up, and older wells don't perform quite as well as the new ones. So I believe the 8-inch will replace the 6-inch, which is why some of the plumbing will, from the 6-inch will be reused for the 8-inch. I can double check with my deputy tomorrow and get back to you.
It doesn't necessarily have to be tomorrow, but at the completion of the project, it'd be nice to know what our status is on
Absolutely.
those wells. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Is there further discussion? Hearing none. Madam Deputy Clerk, please take a roll call vote on the adoption of ordinance serial number 23-03 and the approval of AM number 23-04.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councilmember Brown, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilmember Velock?
Yes.
Councilmember Rubio?
Yes.
Councilmember Graham?
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Sullivan-Leonard.
Yes.
A motion passes unanimously with Sullivan-Leonard, Graham, Johnson, Brown, Velock, and Rubio in support.
Madam Deputy Clerk, please read the title of the next ordinance and action memorandum.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Ordinance serial number 23-04, amending the fiscal year 2023 budget by appropriating an additional $123,850,000 from the Water Fund fund balance for repairs to the Spruce Avenue and East Susitna water towers. We also have AM number 23-02, contract award to Northern Insulation Solutions Incorporated in the amount of $877,000 for insulation repairs to the Spruce and East Susitna reservoirs.
The public hearing on ordinance serial number 23-04 is open. Anyone who would like to testify, please come forward and begin by stating your first and last name. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. Seeing no one, the public hearing is closed. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance serial number 23-04 and approve AM number 23-02?
Madam Mayor, I move we adopt ordinance serial number 23-04 and the related AM 2302.
Is there a second?
I'll second. This is Sullivan-Leonard.
It's been moved by Councilmember Velock and seconded by Councilmember Sullivan-Leonard to adopt ordinance serial number 23-04 and approve AM number 23-02. Is there discussion?
Madam Mayor, just a quick check with the finance here. So if this Schedule B scope of work, well, I mean, break it into 2 questions. Number one, what percentage of the project do we expect would be reimbursed by FEMA and by insurance? And number 2, would that percentage remain the same if Schedule B was approved by FEMA?
So we are anticipating that Schedule A would be reimbursed through insurance. It's replacing what in fact we had. That is not to say that they would not reimburse for Schedule B, it's just that is the tentative questionable part. We do believe that FEMA is in support, and should our insurance not reimburse us, that would be an eligible expenditure under that granting opportunity.
And what type of deductible do we have? I'm sure we don't have 100% insurance coverage here.
No, it's actually $50,000 per incident.
It's pretty inexpensive. Thank you.
Okay, is there further discussion? Hearing none, Madam Deputy Clerk, please take a roll call vote on the adoption of ordinance serial number 23-04 and the approval of AM number 23-02.
Councilmember Sullivan-Leonard,
Yes.
Councilmember Graham,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Velock,
Yes.
Councilmember Rubio.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously with Sullivan-Leonard, Graham, Johnson, Brown, Velock, and Rubio in support.
We are now at persons to be heard, a time for members of the public to share their views with the council. This is not a question and answer period or time for dialogue. Speakers may be referred to administration, or issues raised may be taken under advisement by the council or administration. Kelly Dow, please begin your testimony by stating your first and last name, and comments are limited to 3 minutes.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Commission members, and staff. My name is Kelly Dow. I'm a 34-year resident of the city of Wasilla, proud resident. I'm here to speak to you about my beloved Lake Lucille Park. This fall, the city of Wasilla put in 2 new gates into Lake Lucille Park. One is near the dog park, which has yet to ever be closed, which is nice, it's open. And then the other gate is by the campground gate, which locks off now the parking lot to the dock and the lake. I'm here to ask you to open that gate. Not only is there a gate that's locked, but there's also snow pushed up around it. So in order to get into the park, to get into the dock, to get to the lake, you have to climb over mountains, and it's very hard. The other thing is, this has deterred lots of traffic in Lake Lucille Park. It is our park. The trails aren't being used. You can tell as you walk along them. The dock's not being used. I mean, and in years past, I have enjoyed going to the park in the winter. It is quieter, but you see families taking their children out on the lake to ice skate, not now, but or fish. I've seen them go snowshoeing along the trails. I've pulled my grandchildren along the trails, and it's a wonderful, wonderful activity. I understand the gates were put in place to deter people from hanging out and doing bad things. And I understand that, but I am feeling that what the gates are truly doing is locking the park from the public. And what Lake Lucille is the only park within the city of Wasilla that has hiking trails in it. There is no other. It's a little gem that I often feel is undeserved, or untaken care of. But what I would like you to do, I would like you to open the gates. I would like you to plow the little bit of road and plow the parking lot. I would like you to strategically berm areas of the parking lot because there's more traffic off the lake in four-wheelers, snow machines, and a truck coming in and driving into the campground because berms are not in place. Previously, berms would put up, and no, we don't stop all the motor traffic, but it does deter them. And the campground's a mess. They've gone through trails. The parking lot's a mess. So I would really like you to unlock the dock and allow access to our trails for all the residents of Wasilla and the surrounding area. Thank you.
Thank you, neighbor. Next is Jeannie Troe.
Mayor, Council, I'm Jeannie Trzynski, President of the Friends of Wasilla Library. I gave to Sarah to hand out to you the copy of the letter. This time of the year, we start seeking donations for our summer reading program. The summer reading program is really fantastic, really well participated in, and we seek donations for prizes and for programming. And so we've started sending those out. We have some long-time, really faithful donors who have supported us ever since I've been in the library for 20 years. And but we're always seeking more donations and more public involvement because it really is a wonderful opportunity for children and adults. We have lots of cool things. The spelling bee is very competitive for the adults. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. And also there's on there, our next used book sale is February 11th. 1 to 4 at the library. I have some visuals for you. February, we have been doing for about 9 years now, blind date with a book. You check out a book that looks like this when you check it out. Nothing. And if you agree to spend 10 minutes with your date, then you are eligible to turn in a little slip for some drawings, and the Friends provide some really fun prizes. We have three $50 gift certificates to Grape Tap. We have a $150 gift certificate to Alyeska, and we have a 12-month subscription for Audible. And you put your little slip into whichever kind of thing you'd like to be in the drawing for. You can read as many books and have as many blind dates as you want during February. It's really fun. I've read some things that I would have never read just looking at the book because, it just, I don't know, just wouldn't. So, I encourage you to do that. Our next book club book is of Mice and Men, long-time classic, February 6th at 5 o'clock. Anybody is always welcome to join us at the fireplace. We have really fun, great discussions. Our story walk is currently A Fish Out of Water, and The Fish Out of Water is an old story. I think the date it was published was 1945, but it's a really fun story about a kid who feeds his fish too much. So if you have young kids, grandkids, friends or neighbors, tell them to take a walk around the library and read The Fish Out of Water. I want to say a special thanks to Public Works for helping us out. The story walk got completely buried on the Swanson side by the snowstorm, and it took a lot of days for them to even get the sidewalk clear so people could walk on the sidewalk, and then it took some more digging and engineering to get to the stands. Three of the stands really got buried in there, but I really appreciate Public Works helping us get those dug out so we could get the new story in. And finally, February is National Library Lovers Month, and I hope that you all stop by the library and maybe check out a blind date, or just tell the staff how much we love them, because we really are blessed to have a really remarkable staff at the Wasilla Public Library. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jamie. Danielle Pond.
Evening, Council. I'm Danielle Pond, Outreach Service Manager at the Wasilla Area Senior Center. They gave me a list, so I'll try to get to everything. Our Christmas giving event was a wonderful success. Thank you to everyone that supported it, donated to it, whether it was presents or funds. Over 400 seniors received presents this year, and our Meals on Wheels drivers delivered many of those items. They returned with many heartwarming stories from seniors about receiving their gifts, many hugs, smiles, and a few tears. They were happy tears, but also this Saturday we had our Boomers Rock United with Music. It was a blast. Mayor, I hope you had fun. I just want to give them recognition. That was hosted by seniors, funded by seniors. They did everything. It was beautiful and loved the music. Also, our Club 50 is always seeking volunteer and leaders to bring new classes to WASI. You don't have to be licensed in this. You just want to host a paint night for the seniors, want to show them how to line dance, whatever you want. We're always looking for new things. And WASI is preparing for our Meals on Wheels big fundraising event scheduled for the 24th of June this year. Due to the construction on KGB, we will have a new route in place, but there's no set plan on that. So when we get that, we will announce the fun new things coming for that. And new housing at WASI, Aspen House. The Alaska Housing Federal Fund, AHFC announced its intent to award funding to the second half of the fiscal year 23 for WASI to start the Aspen House project. Possible construction beginning this summer. So that's very exciting. Our Mid-Valley Senior Center is open 9 to 3 daily, Monday through Friday. With our Adult Day Services program opening soon, we are doing a soft opening January 30th, 1 to 3. Come check it out, come meet the staff, come ask questions, see what the program has to offer. Or feel free to have lunch there 11:30 to 12:30, or feel free to sponsor lunch, donate to our lunch. Just Melissa, our program manager out there, has done lovely. The place has a whole new glow to it. We have, on average, before there was 5 to 10 seniors, now we host around 20 to 30, and it's just a blossoming facility. And that's all I have. So thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to address the council at this time? Hearing none. Persons to be heard is closed. We are moving on to the consent agenda. Madam Deputy Clerk, please read the title of the items for approval under the consent agenda.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have the regular meeting minutes of January 9th, 2023. There are no introductions recommended for public hearing on February 13th. There are no resolutions on the consent agenda. We have one action memorandum recommended for approval, AM number 2303, awarding a 3-year contract to Alaska Water Laboratories, LLC, in the amount of $82,184 for water and wastewater laboratory services.
Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as read?
Madam Mayor, I move the consent agenda as presented.
Is there a second?
Rubio seconds.
Second by Council Dunn.
It's been moved by Councilmember Sullivan-Leonard and seconded by Councilmember Rubio to approve the consent agenda as read. Is there objection to the motion? Hearing none, the motion is approved. There is no unfinished business, and under new business, we have resolution number 23-03
2302.
and 2302. Madam Clerk, please read, Deputy Clerk, please read the title.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. That's resolution serial number 23-02, confirming state legislative priorities for fiscal year 2024.
Mr. Graham, you pulled him.
Yes, ma'am, Madam Mayor. I move resolution serial 2302.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Graham and seconded by Councilmember Sullivan-Leonard to approve, wait a minute, where's my thing? To approve ordinance, resolution serial number 23-02. Is there discussion?
Madam Mayor.
Mr. Graham?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The reason I pulled this was to talk a little bit about what's going on in Juneau right now and what has been going on over for several years, and to ask if we're not being a little grandiose with what we're looking for. You know, there's no doubt that the airport, the 3 airport projects need to move forward, and there's no doubt that the water and sewer system need to move forward. But some of these other things, I'm not really sure that we really want to have them on the table in Juneau at this time. It's awfully easy for the legislature to come forward and say, yeah, well, we gave you $3 million for parks, you know, but we didn't give you any money for water and wastewater. You know, I'd rather see us kind of prioritize what we're asking for, knowing that we're not going to get much. You know, the current atmosphere in Juneau, I mean, unless the price of oil just goes through the roof, which, you know, with this way the world is nowadays, you never know. But I just see us asking for some items that we could do without, particularly the Railroad Transit Center. You know, we've been asking for that for years. We know that the railroad doesn't support that, and it has never gained any traction over the years. The asphalt preservation program is certainly a good program, but we have a process in place in the city to deal with that. Trails, parks, and playground upgrades. You know, I just don't know that these are things that the legislature is going to have much to say about, as well as the smart city integration project. So, I would like to see us, remove those forward just to make our ask a little bit more direct and to make our priorities a little more succinct, categorically speaking, as opposed to a little more scattershot approach. I don't have any problem with any of the projects that are on here. I just, when we go down to talk to our legislators, and more specifically to other legislators that we have to convince on these, I'd hate to see them say, well, I gave you 1.3 million for smart cities. What more do you want? I mean, that's, to them, that's a win. And to us, that's a win, but I'd rather see us focus more on the infrastructure issues at the airport and the water and wastewater. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Colleen.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I concur to a certain extent with Councilmember Graham on this. Sometimes when your list is too long, it may be more difficult for the city to be able to present what their priorities are, because you have 12 priorities when you could look at possibly 4 or 5 and then just stick really hard on those particular issues. However, having worked in Juneau, I know there are moments too when you could actually be able to capture 2 million, put it into the House Finance budget, and maybe get it across the finish line. And it might not be the airport apron that you're looking for, but it could be something else that's smaller and at least tangible and achievable. So I know in years past, the city has done that. We've had the big projects, and then we've had a little sprinkling of some of the smaller projects, just in case maybe we could get them across the finish line. So, please remind me, Madam Mayor, did the Planning Commission develop this list and bring it forward for us for our consideration? And do you think they're amenable for us to make amendments or what have you?
I will pass that to the Public Works Director.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm new to this process, but what we followed so far was with the help of Planner Tina. I updated this list with the help of the mayor. It went to the Planning Commission first. Now it's come to you and is open to your interpretations, as I will use whatever is decided in this to build the list within the legislative appropriations request. It has a euphemism I can't remember at this point, but they have an intake process that will be followed based on the approved list from the City Council.
Correct. And then to follow up, Madam Mayor, I know we have a planning commissioner member here, and I don't know if he wants to weigh in or not.
Nice try.
So, Public Works Director, can you convey then what some of the discussion was from the planning commissioners with regard to this list? Was there discussion of anything they may add or take away on the list?
There was very little discussion. It was just received, reviewed, and forwarded. So I don't recall any additions or subtractions through the Planning Commission.
Okay. Madam Mayor, there are some items on the list I actually would like to take away, and I don't want to be contrary with the administration, but I do concur with Councilmember Graham, especially with the Railroad Transit Center and the asphalt preservation program. I don't know that we need the transit center funds right at this moment, and the asphalt preservation program, I think we're doing that in-house. But again, I don't want to be contrary to the administration, so I'm just going to throw it out there. If I was to remove two from the list, those would be the two. So,
Is there further discussion? Mr. Graham?
Madam Mayor, I move to amend the resolution serial 2302. Let me find the right line numbers here to strike line 35 and 36. Line 35 is a Railroad Transit Center $2 million funding request. Line 36 is Asphalt Preservation Program $5 million funding request.
and I'll second that.
Roll call. Madam Deputy Clerk, roll call vote, please.
So this is on the amendment, striking lines 35 and 36 in resolution serial number 2302. Councilmember Sullivan-Leonard, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilmember Graham?
Yes.
Councilmember Brown?
No.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Rubio?
No.
Councilmember Vlock?
Yes.
Thank you. That motion passes with council members Sullivan-Leonard, Graham, Johnson, and Vlock in support. Councilmember Brown and Rubio opposed.
Okay, we are back to the resolution serial number 23-02 as amended.
Correct.
So, is there further discussion on this?
Madam Mayor?
Colleen?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I just wanted to commend the administration for a really good list of priorities. Understanding that we've got MATSU delegation in key positions this year, both Speaker, House Finance Co-Chair, and Chair of Transportation, and Chair of Labor and Commerce. We've got a really good prospect for moving these projects forward, and especially with regard to our airport and water and sewer projects. So anyway, thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, administration.
Well, the governor put 14.2 in his budget for the airport. He did that last year and they took it out. So this year, we're watching it really close, since our valley delegation is in key places. So, anyway,